When you think about feeding your soil, you probably imagine adding compost, worm castings, or maybe a handful of organic fertilizer. That's the usual story in urban gardening circles. But what if the most powerful way to bring your balcony garden to life doesn't come from a store and doesn't sit on top of the soil at all? Over the last few seasons, I started doing something totally different. Instead of layering compost or tossing scraps into a bin, I started burying something strange directly into my raised beds. It sounded odd at first, even I was skeptical, but once I saw what it did to my plants, and the texture of the soil, I never went back. This is the lazy, surprising trick I now use to supercharge every new planting season, and you might already have what you need sitting in your kitchen. So what's the secret? It's not banana peels or eggshells. Those are great, but not game changers. What I bury is fermented kitchen waste, not rotting leftovers, but scraps that have gone through a process called bokashi. These include cooked rice, stale bread, wilted vegetables, and sometimes even fish bones or citrus rinds. It's the kind of stuff most people throw away. But after fermenting it with bokashi bran, I dig a trench and bury the mix directly in the soil. Alongside that, I sometimes add soggy paper bits of untreated cardboard or faded flower stems. Nothing fancy. And once it's underground, it works like magic. There's no bad smell, no flies, and no visible mess. What happens underground is something most balcony gardeners never get to see: soil coming back to life from the bottom up. Why does it work so well in containers and raised beds? Well, urban gardening often means working with potting mix, compact soil, or honestly overused media that's just lost its spark. That's where this method truly shines. Burying fermented waste delivers nutrients and microbes exactly where roots grow. It bypasses the top layer and gets straight to the zone where roots need food and microbes need fuel. In a balcony bed where space is tight and nutrients deplete quickly, this buried organic matter acts like an underground compost system. It feeds fungi, bacteria, and earthworms without requiring extra compost or fertilizers. Even in shallow raised beds or large pots, a single trench of buried scraps can transform the soil over a few weeks, making it more breathable, more absorbent, and honestly richer with each season. If you've been dealing with spindly flowers, dry soil, or slow veggie growth, this technique can quietly shift everything behind the scenes. And honestly, it takes almost no effort. How I do it, even in a small garden. The beauty of this method is how easily it fits into an urban gardener's rhythm. When I know I'm about to replant a section of my raised bed, I start saving my kitchen scraps in a bokashi bucket. After a week or two, I have a fermented mix ready to go. I dig a trench about 6 to 8 inches deep, place the material inside, add some dry paper if it looks too wet, and cover it all with soil. Then I wait. I don't plant directly on top right away. Instead, I let the microbes do their job for a couple of weeks. Once the buried material breaks down, the entire bed feels transformed. The soil is darker, springier, and teeming with life. That's when I bring in my flowers, herbs, or vegetables. Their roots grow straight into a feast. The lazy genius way to build balcony soil. Balcony beds and container gardens are notorious for drying out and losing nutrients fast. This underground method changes that. By feeding the soil below the surface, it creates lasting fertility that doesn't wash away with the next rain. The microbes break things down slowly, giving your plants steady nutrition. And once you've done it a few times, you'll start to notice your soil holding more water, developing a better structure, and smelling like a healthy forest floor. This method also feels satisfying. You're using what you have. No bags, no products, no guesswork. Just organic waste transformed into underground compost by a handful of microbes. Final thoughts from the balcony. So much of gardening is about rhythm and trust. With this method, you're working with nature instead of forcing it. You bury scraps, forget about them, and let the soil do what it's meant to do. And over time, your little balcony garden starts to feel like its own ecosystem, one that thrives quietly beneath the surface. Next time you clear a spot in your raised bed or container, try digging a trench and burying the weird stuff. Let it sit. Then come back in a few weeks and feel the difference. Your flowers will bloom brighter, your herbs will grow faster, and your soil will become something you're proud of. All because you buried what others would throw away.